New report from the IMF says El Salvador was lying about buying crypto. What is going on? I've got the deets for you. Portnoy sold his XRP, but I thought he was part of the XRP ARMY, or at least that's what the ad said that paid him to say that. RLUSD is banging. XRP is definitely getting some price talk. Price action at the end, along with Trump signing the Genius Act. That's right, they got it done. Stablecoins got some action, and
I say lots of naughty things, so here's your warning.
what is it, the Kraken commercial where Portnoy says, "Oh, I'm part of the XRP Army." Dude, you're full of shit. You were just paid to say stuff like that. Now, before we get into the crypto news, and yes, a lot of our favorites out there are holding support at key levels. What do we do, everyone? Well, if you're new to the channel, you don't know. If you're used to the channel, you know what's up. We do your comments first. Why? Because you, the viewer, matter most. Even while I'm hanging out in this wonderful, wonderful country, the coffee is perfect, the drinks are tasty, and the food is fresh. Dosh79 says, Dave Portnoy, what a tool. I agree. I'm not trying to promote the haterade, but leader of the XRP Army, bro, you got famous scoring pizzas. This guy walks around like he's 10 feet taller than everyone around him. Humble yourself, big cheap. Yeah, I guess Portnoy, right, was only part of the XRP Army because the exchange was paying him. Now, someone's dropping support on the channel, and if I remember correctly, the translation of this means you do not need to know my name. Hopefully, I'm saying that right. Dropping euros on the channel, thank you much. Let's here's some money for your next, hopefully soon, vacation. Yeah, the market seems to rally when I go on vacation, and yes, I'm taking another one later this year. For those of you wondering why I'm taking a vacation now, well, it's because I've got some pretty severe medical stuff coming up soon as I get home, so I wanted to have some fun before I tackle that. It sucks sometimes. Trial by fire says that appears to be a mojito. Why, yes, sir. It was a mojito. Had some ceviche last night as well. Juicy stuff. Bitcoin sitting at 170,767. ETH is 35.45. XP at 342, while the rest of the market seems to be holding fairly strong. I'm not worried about the price corrections. Why? Well, because we were freaking rocket shipping for this like last week, and you can't always print green candlesticks. But liar, pants on fire. That's right. I've been covering the El Salvador Bitcoin story since it started. Yeah, since it started. So for you OG viewers out there, you remember those El Salvador videos. Listen to this. This is wild. This is the IMF coming out. El Salvador hasn't bought Bitcoin since signing the loan deal. Okay, so essentially what happened was El Salvador needed some funding. The IMF was like, yo, we'll give you some funding, but here's the deal. You can't make BTC a legal currency, and guess what? Or you can't force BTC to be a legal currency. And, well, you got to stop buying Bitcoin if you want a loan from us. Well, listen on. The IMF published a report on Tuesday about its ongoing loan agreement with El Salvador, claiming that the Central American country has not bought any new Bitcoin since their agreement in 2024. But remember, though, El Salvador and Bukele keep saying, yo, we buy one BTC a day no matter what. Liar, liar, pants on fire, you cave to the IMF. El Salvador's Chivo Bitcoin wallet does not adjust its Bitcoin reserves to reflect the changes in clients' Bitcoin deposits, the report read. Chivo doesn't sell its BTC, leading to minor discrepancies that made it appear that El Salvador's public sector was accumulating it. A letter of intent signed by El Salvador Central Bank President Douglas Pablo Rodriguez Fuentes and Minister of Finance Gerson Rogelio Posado Molina, contained within the IMF report, confirmed the details. In line with the commitments under the program, the stock of Bitcoins held by the public sector remains unchanged, and we are taking steps to mitigate fiscal risks by reducing the public sector's role in the Chivo wallet. Yo, this is messed up, everyone, because remember, this is one of the big things that El Salvador was doing out there in terms of being pro-BTC. El Salvador's government claimed that throughout 2025, it was buying one Bitcoin per day. However, a newly published IMF report directly contradicts these assertions. This is messed up. And the reason it's messed up is because when El Salvador did the Bitcoin as legal tender, they were like the first ones out there to do it. And a lot of people gave them crap for it. Well, now that Bitcoin is like 3x since the time they bought it, probably 4x now since the time they first started buying it, what happened to Bukele and El Salvador saying, yo, they were going to buy one BTC a day? Apparently, they needed the money from the IMF, and the IMF said, look, we think Bitcoin is risky. We don't like what you're doing with Bitcoin. And El Salvador caved. It's kind of messed up, everyone. Trump signs the Genius Act into law. Will make America the crypto capital of the world. That's right. The Genius Act is now legal. President Trump signed the Genius Act into law today, marking a milestone in the administration's push to establish the Estados Unidos as the global Bitcoin and crypto capital. This legislation creates a clear framework for dollar-backed stablecoins. None of that algorithmic crap either, so you don't have to worry about another Luna happening. Trump says he will sign the market structure legislation to grow the industry more than people ever thought. While the Genius Act doesn't directly address Bitcoin, the legislation establishes regulatory clarity that could benefit all digital assets. The reality is, it's really for stable coins, okay? That's the reality is. Clarity Act does the rest of the crypto, right? BTC doesn't need regs. Why? Because it's already been given like the golden pass as a commodity, right? Just like gold, oil, silver, and so forth. So, Genius Act, stablecoins. Clarity Act, clarity for the rest of crypto, like how I did that. So Trump signs it. It is now official. Love it. Dave Portnoy's XRP sale preceded the rally amid the U.S. legislative court and institutional interest. Listen to this, all right? And remember all those commercials we saw where, yeah, I'm even part of the XRP ARMY. I think it's like a Kraken commercial. So let me know down below which exchanges. I think it's the Kraken commercial where he's like, yeah, I got my Bitcoin on Kraken. I've even got my XRP on Kraken. I'm part of the XP Army. No, you're just a full of shit loser out there that what everyone does what you're paid to say. So when the money flows in, you talk good, but then what? When the money goes away, you sell because you're a punk bitch? Sorry. Like I said, I'm not trying to promote the haterade either, but really, when these people come out and make these public statements and then, well, here, just listen to the story. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Dave Portnoy's XRP sale, timing and regret. Dave Portnoy, founder of Barstool Sports and the guy that reviews pizza like he's a tool, sold his XRP holdings at $2.40. His decision was influenced by concerns over competition from Circle stablecoin, reflecting a common pattern among retail investors who often act on short-term fears rather than long-term fundamentals. Here's the funny thing. The reason he sold his XRP is because his friend is whoever, his confidant, we'll say that, was trying to tell him that XRP and USDC were direct competitors. Dude, I almost said a naughty word. I'll say it. You're a retard. You know why? Because you know who's a direct competitor to USDC? It's Ripple's RLUSD, another stablecoin. So Portnoy, whoever was telling you about, oh, USDC is a direct competitor with XRP, obviously knows jack shit about crypto. You know what this reminds me of? You watch all those traditional finance programs, you know, your MSNBC, CNBC, Squawk Box. When they talk about crypto, you can tell they have no freaking idea what they're talking about. Let's stick with RLUSD stablecoin action, and then we're going to talk about what everyone XRP juicy action. Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin rockets 127% in volume. Nice, that's right. It's seen its volume surge by a massive 127% in 24 hours. Now, here's the thing. With the signing of the Genius Act, this gives a hell of a lot more protection for RLUSD and the other stables out there. Why? Because RLUSD is a one-to-one, right? Kind of mimicking the US dollar, backed by the things that they want it to be backed by, and it fits within those categories. So now you're going to have even more interest in stables. All right, let's get into it. RLUSD has seen its volume surge by a massive 127% in the last 24 hours. This represents over $2.41 billion in fiat currency. Ooh, that's some good transactions. It is a development that suggests increased activity in the crypto and stablecoin space. Notably, the surge in RLUSD volume indicates increased demand from investors seeking to acquire various crypto assets. This may have been triggered by the ongoing altcoin rally. No, the reality is this was triggered by what? The Genius Act. Now, here's what I got up on the screen. Okay. This is RLUSD. Now, remember, that launched in it was late December. So from late December to now, we got like a half a year's worth of data, a little bit more than that. RLUSD's market cap is over $500 million. Currently sitting at what, everyone? 527 million. What's the volume of RLUSD in the last 24 hours? Bonkers AF. Normal volume for RLUSD will float anywhere between the 20 and $50 million range. Do you know what the volume is over the last 24 hours for RLUSD? 1.6 billion. So this Genius Act is already creating a juicy amount of demand. And here's the best part. It's only going to increase. Why? because players out there in the traditional finance world are going to start seeing how easy it is to use and play with stables, how quickly you can transfer money, the low costs of this, the security of it. And the best part is a lot of us know about this, but those traditional finance bros and gals don't know jack shitola. So yeah, we beat them to the punch. Fear and greed index are sitting at 71 now out of 147 for altcoin season, which means what? BTC is stalled, but the alts are starting to really pump-a-roni. What are we noticing? Inflows in crypto. That's right. Last 30 days have seen a lot of inflows. In fact, the net inflow for the last 30 days, $1.1 billion. That is freaking awesome, everyone. And that's just over the last 30 days. So now that we got the stablecoin in, you know you're going to see even more action. You get clarity in, you're going to see way more action than that. Speaking of action, let's talk XRP, where the volume right now is 20.77 billion in the last 24 hours. A lot of people out there, and I've been reading the comments. Don't worry, I've been reading them while still on vacation. But a lot of people have said, oh, XRP is selling off. Oh, XRP is crashing. Not really. I mean, look at the meteoric rise that we've had, right? I mean, come on. When you start ramping up this fast, you can't expect to print green candlestick after green candlestick after green. You're going to expect some kind of pullback of price, right? This is normal, right? I kind of expected this to happen. Now, where the footing is, a lot of people out there are suggesting we might be looking at $2.75, if not $3 floor for XRP. Now, Clarity Act goes through, and remember, Clarity Act gives clarity to the rest of the crypto market, right? Considering the alts, right? That could push it up even freaking higher. Now, zoom out to the 1 month and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. When you make a run like this, you can't expect those candlesticks to be green Ola all the time. Let's take a look at those candlesticks, by the way. We're going to stick with the 1 hour variant and see exactly what we're talking about with XRP. Seem to have a little bit of resistance here right around that 365 mark. You got 1, 2, 3 hour candlesticks right there giving us that action. We did get a little bit of short-term support here at a low of 336. You had 2 back-to-back candlesticks picking that up right there. Right now, like I said, we're floating right around that 344 mark. So XRP is still very healthy because check this out. Go to like a month ago, everyone. Yeah, watch this. Watch what happens when I zoom out to a month ago. Go to a month ago, and where were we for XRP? We're at the $2.10, $2.15 mark. That's a big, big move, everyone. And remember, this is just based on what? Optimism that we're going to get regs. Well, now we've got the Genius Act signed. We've got now the Clarity Act that's done in the House that is now going over to the Senate. If the Senate can pass the Clarity Act cleanly, we're going to have another run up. But that's why the market right now is kind of pausing, right? We're going into the weekend. We know there's not going to be any like big finance news over the weekend. But don't worry, I'll still be covering the news over the weekend for you. The reality is what, right? People are going to be taking some profits, and I get it. I totally understand. But then what? Then we see what happens with the Senate. Now, timing for the Clarity Act with the Senate is this. Their goal is to get it completely done before August recess. All right, so that kind of gives you a time frame of what to look for. When am I doing my next vacation so the market can pump again? Well, it's later this year. I'm just telling you that right now. Hopefully, I'm fully healthy by then. Like I said, I've got some problems that I'm dealing with, a little bit of sinus issues that are getting really severe, and it's a long story. Either way, I'm going to keep bringing you the news. XRP is going to keep bringing the heat. And with the volume at 20.7 billion, and with Portnoy selling his stuff because he's a tool bag, I mean, it's a good day to be honest with you. But it's going to be even better when we get clarity in regards to the Clarity Act. All right, let's talk real quick about El Salvador and the IMF. The IMF honestly sees Bitcoin as a threat. Why? Well, come on now. It's a traditional finance system. All of a sudden, seeing how strong BTC in the crypto world is. So, what did the IMF say? You need a loan from us. You got to kind of back off on the BTC. El Salvador said, well, okay. We won't force it to be legal tender, but we're still going to buy every day. And then the IMF comes out, drops a report that says, liar, liar, pants on fire. El Salvador is over there. It says, liar, liar. And actually, it really is over there. A liar, liar, pants on fire. You have not been buying 1 BTC a day. So, they missed out because think about it. That means that they stopped buying them. They could have rode this BTC rally the whole way, and yet they caved into the IMF. I'm very curious to see what Bukele and what the El Salvadorian government says about this, because if so, again, we almost got another, Portnoy situation, right? Where people are like, only cool with it up to a point, kind of faking the funk right here, if you get what I'm saying. Now I get it. El Salvador needed the money. The IMF was able to give the loan. And hey, if you're a country out there and you need the money, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But then don't lie to people and tell them that you're still buying every day. Just be honest with people. I think that's kind of what we all want, right? Just be honest with us. Portnoy, part of the XRP ARMY. Well, you might need to change that commercial. I think it's cracking, right? Let me know down below what exchange is. And I've seen it how many times now? Oh, I'm part of the XRP ARMY. Then why did you sell it? Like, why did you sell it? And if you are part of the XRP army, how fucking dumb are you to think that USDC is a direct competitor to XRP? You're really fucking stupid then. And that's why I think a lot of people out there, right? A lot of like bigs out there have no idea about this crypto world that you and I are in because think we live it every day. I've been living and breathing crypto now for what, like 7-ish years. I've been doing videos like this for like 5 plus. Yeah, we know the difference between XRP, RLUSD, and USDT, USDC, right? But obviously Portnoy didn't, and he sold. He sold at $2.40, saying, yo, he could have made millions and millions on it. Well, Portnoy, you're a moron. And the person that told you that XRP and USDC are direct competitors, they're a moron too. But hey, that's the traditional finance world. I think these people out here are just a bunch of fakers, and a lot of them, all they care about is what? Profit aroni and not understanding aroni. Either way, Portnoy is what everyone say it with me, jabroni. All right, I'm going to be hanging out a little bit more, and then I'm going to go do some dinner with my mom. That's right, treat my mom to a little bit of a proper vacation out here in one of the most beautiful countries in the world. Had some fun in Zona Quattro last night. I might be doing more of the same. It's Friday, and I can already tell the traffic is picking up and the energy's out there on the street, and the people are just absolutely wonderful out here. For real. This has just been a blessing. And like I said, the reason I'm doing this vacation now is because I've got some very severe health things that I got to tackle. And as soon as I come back home, I get to see the specialist and we get to take care of it because obviously the first surgery I had didn't fix things. And in fact, it's kind of gotten worse. So yeah, I wanted to have some fun on vacation before I had to take care of myself. But don't worry, even if they put me under the knife again, which is probably going to happen, guess what? I'll still bring you the news. I might have to take a few days off to kind of let my voice and let my sinuses recharge, but you know the deal. I'll bring you the heat as soon as I'm better. But for now, I'm here bringing you the news. So choo choo what? Choo choo, yo, homeboy just got sniped on the screen. I saw that. Choo choo biz nachos.